Good afternoon. My name is Faith Klier, and today I'll be talking about brain theory. This was our week 6 learning module, and in summary, I will be discussing learning, innovation, and creativity in organizations. So to begin, I would like to discuss factors that inhibit innovation in organizations and how to remove them. The first inhibiting factor that I would like to discuss is lack of training and knowledge within an organization. This can be a very big problem within an organization. The example given to us in Brother Embry's discussion in week 6 was the example of somebody working in an organization and calling off sick. And now the whole organization comes to a halt, comes to a stop because nobody knows how to do that specific person's job. They haven't been trained in it. And I have seen this in different lines of work that I've done time and time again. And so the solution to this would be cross-training. Cross-training is when each individual is trained in every area, not just one specific area. This is very important for innovation in an organization, and it can solve a lot of issues. I saw an example of this in my own life when I worked at a restaurant back home in Chicago. And in that restaurant, I was trained as a hostess, I was trained as a waitress, I was trained as a busser, I was trained as a food runner, and I was even trained a little bit on custodial things, and I did a lot of cleaning in the restaurant and so forth. And I found that I was a very highly appreciated, highly in-demand employee because I knew how to do the jobs of many different employees. And so when somebody was sick, when somebody had to go on vacation, when somebody was busy doing something else in the restaurant, I was often called upon because I knew how to do each of the jobs within that restaurant, and I was very needed. And so it's a really important thing to be highly valued in your job and cross-trained in every area. And it's also very important because not only does it make your life easier when somebody is cross-trained in your job, so if you need to go do something else or be somewhere else, they can do your job, but it makes everybody's lives a little bit easier because the whole operation doesn't have to fall apart when somebody's gone. Each employee will be able to do the job of the other employees, and you can all work together. And it's a really, really great thing and really, really allows innovation in organizations. The next inhibiting factor that I would like to talk about is something that was discussed in week 6 called lizard brain. Again, this was another topic discussed in Brother Embry's discussion. And this was a topic I found very interesting. So the example given is a lizard. Lizards sit on rocks, and it can sit on a rock long enough to understand that it needs to adjust its body temperature. If it's cold, it sits on the rock in the sun, takes in the heat, warms up. If it's too hot, it moves. And so it can understand that it needs to do that, but it really doesn't understand what else it needs to do beyond that. And we are not lizards. We have the ability to think and to act for ourselves. And so the solution to this lizard brain thinking is to question and to ask ourselves, what are we missing? What are we missing is another thing that was discussed in the week 6 module. And it's a very, very important question to ask yourselves when you're part of an organization. And it really allows for an organization to understand what they need to do to improve, what they need to do to grow. And it can allow a lot of change and growth within an organization and within a company. This lizard brain thinking is something called single loop learning. And next I'm going to discuss something called double loop learning, which is kind of what we just talked about. It's this idea that we can sit back, look at what we're doing, and ask ourselves, what are we missing? Is there a better way to do this? Is there a way to improve? And in order to have double loop learning within an organization, there needs to be opportunities to ask those questions. Again, Brother Embry discussed complaining. Complain, don't whine. Whiners will say, what do we need to do to change? This is awful. This is terrible, this isn't working, but they won't do anything about it. Complainers will say, this isn't working, this is something that needs to be improved. Here's what we're going to do to improve it. Let's come up with ideas to fix this problem. And so you can be a complainer. Those are highly valued within organizations, but not a whiner. And so it's really important to create opportunities to ask those questions so that companies can improve and grow. And this is, again, something that I've seen in my own personal work life. I don't work at that restaurant anymore, but I do work now with a resort, a very, very large resort that has resorts all over the United States. And they pulled me into something called a roundtable meeting the other day, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. They sat individuals down from every department within the organization, and some of the higher ups, not quite CEOs, but people just below them, came from other states. They don't even live in Utah. They don't live where I live. But they came and they traveled to our specific resort, and they sat us all down and said, we want to have an open discussion about what needs to be done to improve. What are you not happy with here in this resort? What do you not like? What needs to be fixed? We're not going to punish you. We're not going to say you're a bad employee. We're here to learn and to grow. And I thought that was a very interesting experience, and it allowed for a lot of innovation, a lot of growth within the company. And they even came back to us several weeks later and said, we've taken into consideration your thoughts and your feelings and your ideas, and here's what we're going to do to improve in these specific areas, and here's what we came up with, and here are some of the solutions to the problems that you have brought to us. And so it's really important to create an opportunity for people within an organization to ask those questions and to ask, what can we be doing better? What are we missing? Next, I'd like to show you a TED Talk. This was also given in our week 6 module. This TED Talk is called Build a Tower, Build a Team by Tom Wujek. And I'm just going to show you a brief clip of it, but within this TED Talk, he discusses the marshmallow tower experiment, where he gives different groups of people spaghetti, noodles, tape, and a marshmallow. And the marshmallow has to go on top, and they have to build a tower with the spaghetti, noodles, and the tape. And I found that his research and his studies and the outcomes of his studies were very, very interesting. And so I'd like to show you that clip now. So I really liked this TED Talk, and I found his findings very interesting. I love that the kindergartners were able to find solutions and answers um, to this experiment, and they were able to build towers successfully. And it wasn't because they've had any sort of power system. It wasn't because they had any sort of discussion of what should be done first. It was because they simply just tried, and they were willing to listen to each other's ideas and try new things and try different ideas. And those trial and errors allowed them to be more successful than any of the other groups were. And I think that trial and error is extremely successful in a company. And so I really loved that TED Talk. Next, I found an article written by a man named Paul Hobcraft, and his article was called How to Create an Impactful Innovation Environment. And in this article, he states, a successful innovation environment is an atmosphere in which every employee feels free to generate new ideas, is encouraged to share them with others, and recognizes that every idea will be considered. An organization's culture has a profound impact on innovation potential. And I loved this quote. And in this same article, he goes on to state 3 different ways that create a climate of innovation. The first is set clear goals. It's very important to set these goals and make them attainable and reach these goals for yourself and within a team and within an organization. Provide the necessary tools. You need the necessary tools in order to be innovative. You need emotional tools, you need mental tools, and you need tangible physical tools as well, whatever that might be, technology or whatever. And it's important to recognize both small and big wins. So the big wins are an obvious, very important, but the small wins are also very, very important. The small wins are the ones that are on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. And those are the ones that, when achieved, when you have a small win, those are the things that encourage people within an organization, employees within an organization, to work harder, to keep going, to keep trying, and to try to obtain the next goals that they've set. This was just a brief chart that I found from Center of Creative Leadership that states 5 ways to foster organizational innovation. The first is leaders encourage innovation. Second, the culture fosters innovation. Third, there's a formal innovation strategy. Fourth, there's money in the budget, which is a little bit understated, but very important. And 5, leaders set the direction for innovation. So I won't go too into detail about this, but I thought this was a very great, simple, easy to understand chart. Next, I'd like to show another TED Talk. This was one that I found on my own. And this one is called Reigniting Creativity in Business by Alan Iney. And he goes on to discuss the importance of doubt within an organization and for innovation. And I love this idea because doubt, it's a little bit shocking and a little surprising to the audience at first. But again, it goes back to this idea of questioning, saying, is there a way to do this better? Are we doing this in the best way possible? And are we missing anything? And so I will show you that brief clip now. I really love this idea again. The key to creativity is doubt. Keep questioning, keep trying, keep experimenting. Ask other people, hey, do you have an idea? What do you think? What are your thoughts? I'm not sure if I love my ideas. This is very, very important in innovation within an organization. 3 advantages of holographic organizations that I found while I was studying this topic were employee satisfaction and success, customer satisfaction, and more profit for the organization. All 3 of these things I find go hand in hand. Employee satisfaction and success comes when they feel that their needs and feelings and ideas are being heard and met. Customer satisfaction comes with employee satisfaction because the more an employee is satisfied, the more that they will try to do better for a customer, and the more they're willing to do for a customer, and so customer satisfaction goes up, and from there, more profit for the organization is made. In summary, innovation and creativity within an organization is extremely important. Many organizations tend to stick to tradition, but innovation and creativity allows for growth within an organization. There tends to be an increase in both employee and customer satisfaction when an organization leans into innovation and tries new techniques. It's also very important to recognize actions that promote innovation and how to implement those. There's always room for growth and improvement. So I encourage you to learn what you can do to improve. Keep asking questions. Ask yourself, what are we missing? And always be looking to grow. So thank you so much. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.